Can you hear that? I can hear it. That's the sound of every former British service member cringing at the mere sight of this rifle.
Accuracy International got its start in the early 1980s. They were really kind of the stereotypical British company consisting of two guys in a shed. Really never going to happen. Go look somewhere else. And there were a couple other dealers who showed an interest in selling these things and were seriously bullied out of doing so, to the point of death threats. Like, people took this really seriously. Ended because they were unable to get the rubber, which really says something about the state of the German military and economy and, well, the country in general. Of the pistol will fire. If the watch is removed from the vicinity of the pistol, it will not fire. From a technological point of view, this is interesting. Guns like the XD pistol series. The basic story of Armatics here is it was developed by a German engineer. It is a German company. There are some elements of this that are so incredibly German that we'll touch on as we get to them. But this might indicate 2005 as a date of production, or it might not. Reducing accidental shootings. You know, if a toddler finds a gun and accidentally pulls the trigger. Well, if you have a gun that can only be fired by an authorized person, one would presume a toddler would not be authorized and thus couldn't pull the trigger, and you could avoid a gun accident. The bullet has left the muzzle, which is a very short period of time in human terms. Some partisans in Italy towards the end of World War II. So they did see combat use there, in addition to this interesting side trek into Algeria. Chess and the FAMAS. However, my answer to John's question is a very simple and unequivocal no. A thing that's of value for example, a tank machine gun, a coaxial tank machine gun, where if you have a lot of gas coming back out of the gun, it's going to fill up the crew compartment of the tank, and that's going to be bad. This one, rather interestingly, is marked U.S. Military MP86 on the side, which is almost certainly a fake marking that someone was using in some sort of scam to, I don't know, to do even what. Okay. Oh, well, almost okay. The Wehrmacht wanted it to become the standard rifle. It never actually did during the war. But I'm going to ignore those concerns and say my first choice would be 8mm Kurz. The difference is the FAMAS had a selector back here to allow you to go between real full auto and limited 3-round burst. And the VHS-1 does not have a burst system, which frankly is no loss to anybody because that's really not all that necessary. A great example would be Colt's Delta Elite. It's in 45, like, that's a big frame. The magazine well's long enough to handle 10mm. We'll just, 10mm barrel and boom, away we go. Capable from shoulder to shoulder, even without changing the ejection system. And so that, combined with a few other ergonomic improvements, which it pains me a bit to say, but largely involves getting rid of the elements from the FAMAS, that is what would lead to the VHS-2. There are others. I've thought about trying to go out there and actually tally out all of the bullpup conversions, and I realized it's not really feasible because there are so many of them, and they are all, in fact, crap for all the same reasons, which are what I just went over.